Hey guys, what's up? What's going on? It's Angel here, and we have a brand new patch notes for the PTR. It's patch 1.31, and we're seeing a buff to Bastion and some nerfs to Brigitte and Doomfist, and some big ones too. So let's get right into it. Alright guys, so first off, we'll start with Bastion. Bastion's getting buffed. His ammo in his recon configuration, which is this one right here, has been increased from 25 to 35. You can see he has 10 extra bullets. That's just going to allow him to, put out a little bit more DPS. And then in his turn mode, his sentry mode, his spread has been reduced by 33% while firing. Now what this is going to do is just going to make him a little bit more accurate at longer ranges. So this is just an overall buff to how much damage Bastion can output. Apparently the developers are saying, which I agree with, his damage at far ranges wasn't that great, and it kind of made him, the only comp Bastion really fits into right now is pirate ship. And with these changes, I'm not saying, wow, that was really fast actually. I'm not saying that he's going to be, a staple of the new meta, but I think you can kind of fit him in a little bit better. Wow, that's a lot of damage. You're hitting way more shots. How far are we here? I think this goes 30, that's 40 meters. So let's see how this should be 40 meters, which is kind of far. All right, that's not too bad, but you decrease that to 30 meters, he's extremely lethal from 30 meters and closer. All right, that's really cool. I agree with this change. I think while a lot of people think it may not be necessary, Bastion doesn't have super high pick rates, and not every hero needs them, but this just makes him a little bit more viable in certain situations. All right, let's move on. Next up we have Brigitte. Now Brigitte's ability, or her nerf, I can't really show in the training ground, but she can't shield bash through barriers. She can't stun or travel through barriers anymore, which is very big for Brigitte. That's a big part of goats and how you would use her to combo with your Reinhardt, to make sure, if their Reinhardt had their shield up, you'd shield bash, then your Reinhardt would shatter. Very big. Huge change. What I like about this change though is that it keeps her dangerous to flankers, as she should be, because she's an off support and she should be attempting to peel and protect her main support. But more importantly, it stops a lot of comps that rely on her bashing through shields. It helps Reinhardt become a little bit less just stunned 100% of the time with flashbang and Brig stun and all the movement impairing effects that Overwatch has, which is great. This is kind of like a Reinhardt buff if you think about it. I like it. I think Brig, who's a very strong character naturally just because of her kit, I think she needed some, some punishment in the form of her bash, and now this is good. She can't go through Orissa's shield. She can't bash Winston through his shield. Can't bash Zarya through her bubble, I don't think. So it's taken away a lot of her play against tanks, and that's not where she should be anyways, right? She should be really good at protecting her off supports from dives like Genji or Tracer, or even Sombra sometimes with her stun. That's what that ability should be used for. It shouldn't be used to stun tanks or take away their barrier, or immobilize them. So I like this change a lot. Very good. Okay, next we have Doomfist, and he's also getting nerfed. So a couple of things. One, his rising uppercut, which is his left shift, the loss of control for the enemy has been lowered from 3 seconds all the way down to 0.6 seconds. So apparently why they did this was because, one, it felt really bad as anyone playing against Doomfist to just lose total control of their character while Doomfist is launching them into the air. But another thing, it does give Doomfist the ability to set up combos, right? That's what this ability is mainly used for. He can uppercut, shoot, punch, and I think they did find the nice middle ground where he can still set up his combos, but it's just not as devastatingly hopeless for the enemy since they regain their characters so much quicker. You can even see it here when I knock up the bots, like right here. I'll knock up this one. You'll see how quickly he drops back down to the ground. Yeah, I mean, well, that was a bad example. Anyways, they do come back way quicker. They gain control of their, I mean, they're bots. They really don't have control of anything. Anyways, it's good. It's a really, really good nerf in the sense that it allows Doomfist to still do what he's meant to do, but it also gives players some way to outskill this ability. Next up, he's got his Seismic Slam, his E. This is big. The range of his E has been reduced from 20 meters to 15, which means Doomfist has to be way closer to his targets that he's gonna Seismic Slam. See, you can still do it from there, but one thing I remember is being able to sort of jump from up there and Seismic Slam this bot all the way over there. You cannot do that anymore. Like, it won't appear. You'll see. All right, you can see if I jump, you can see where Seismic Slam, is gonna land. If I aim this far out, okay, right there. You cannot jump to that spot anymore, right? It's got to be within these 15 meters. So from here to about, I think right here is right where it, right where it ends. That's pretty close. You've got to be in close range to set up this, devastating combo with the Seismic Slam, uppercut, shoot, and then, you can punch away. Again, another ability that helps Doomfist with his overall damage. They didn't nerf the damage, so it's still going to be there. It just puts him in a little bit more high risk situations, so he's just not easily just jumping from from that mountain over there, landing and then just devastating one of the supports in the back line, or even a tank or Soldier 76, anyone really. So another nerf that I'm in favor for. It doesn't take away too much from the character, but it does give this sense of counter play too, this way Doomfist will have to actually be in close range to land some of his abilities. You can outplay the uppercut a little bit more, and there's counterplay to the hero, and that's what all good heroes need. They need something that counters them well, and Doomfist was just really, really strong at this point. All right, let's move on. Next up, we have McCree, and this is super quick. His alternate fire, so his Fan the Hammer, the damage has been increased from 45 to 55. So he's just going to do more damage with Fan the Hammer. I think this is good for, kind of the tankier heroes that we have now, especially something like Hammond. Roadhog's received a buff recently, so, it's going to give McCree some sort of play against people who are very close to him. Now, Fan the Hammer usually, I think you'd flashback Fan the Hammer, you'd kill Soldier 76, you'd kill a Reaper. This just makes, that 1% of the time that they escape, this makes that impossible. It's going to do so much damage. You shoot 6 bullets that do 55 damage each, and I think that's without headshots. I think you can headshot with Fan the Hammer. You cannot headshot. Right? Bing. No, you can't headshot. So it's 55 times 6. What's that? 55 times 6. That's like 330 damage, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a good amount. That's a good chunk. That's a good chunk of health. You're gonna do a lot of damage to tanks. If Doomfist lands on you, you can definitely kill him. So another counter to Doomfist right there. If he jumps on McCree, if he's able to roll back, flashbang, and Fan the Hammer, he might be able to kill Doomfist with that right there. I mean, if you flashbang and aim for the head, I don't think you can one-shot Doomfist like you would a Tracer or a Sombra or any 200 health hero, especially if he lands and gets some of his shield. So that's very good. That's pretty much it. Okay, while I build up my ultimate, let's talk about Torbjorn's buff. Torbjorn's buff is to his ultimate. So the damage has been increased on Molten Core from 130 to 160 damage. The reasoning behind this apparently is because while Molten Core was intended for area denial, we've seen people just sort of like avoid it or walk through it because it doesn't actually do too much damage. If you're a tank or something, or if you're getting healed, it doesn't do too much damage. So with this increase, you're gonna have, let's see. Oh yeah, it does kill them. You know, 30 damage faster. You're gonna have a lot more damage on the field, especially when a whole team's walking through it. You're getting a lot more damage ticks on the whole team, and it's gonna make his ultimate a little bit more useful than what we've seen so far. Okay, and that's it, guys. That's it for all the hero changes. Everything else in the patch notes, which I'll leave in the description below, are just bug fixes and things like that. I think this patch is very interesting. I think we've seen a couple of buffs to heroes that I didn't think required them, but it could work out it as a better way to nerf other heroes, right? I think that's one of the best ways to balance a game, is just buffing the characters that are not as good. Of course, when something's super powerful, you're gonna have to nerf it, and I think that's what happened with Brigitte and Doomfist. But as for McCree and Torbjorn, I think this is a good idea. Just buff their abilities a little bit, make them a little bit better. Same thing with Bastion. So in the comments down below, guys, let me know what you think of patch 1.31. It is on the PTR right now, so if you guys want to go check it out, if you're on PC, go ahead and do so. Remember to like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel for more Overwatch goodness. I'm Angel_the_twin, and I will see you all next time. You just gotta keep moving forward.